Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. I'm your host, Alex Guthrie. We're coming to you from deep in the heart of the great state of Texas, from the world headquarters of Remodel Revolution. So glad you could be with us today. Now that everybody's working from home, you've got something to watch. You can watch Remodel Revolution. Aren't you lucky? I'm lucky to be here. I'm so glad that you're here with me. We have a great show today. Our guests are Gia Gambatese from Closets by Design. Gia Gambatese from Closets by Design. I'm sorry. Are you officing from home? We're going to talk about home offices with Closets by Design. Also, Jeremy Blackwell with Blackwells Bluewater and Construction. We're going to talk about outdoor living areas and swimming pools. It's that time of year. And first, though, I would like to do a little monologue again this week because of things that are happening in the world. There's lots of theories about why this virus is happening. There's lots of fear. There's lots of confusion. There's also a lot of blame going around, and I say put it away. Put it on the back burner. Go away from it. There's no explaining why these things happen in life, but they do, and they always will. The real question is how we handle it. History will judge us by decisions we make and the strength or weakness that we exhibit. Instead of lashing out at the unknown and each other, we should be embracing and coalescing around each other, protecting our elders and our children, and supporting the people that are trying to mitigate the oncoming crisis. I've talked to people all week that are focused on criticizing the very people that are trying to deal with this crisis on a national level. This is destructive and it is futile, and it serves no purpose in solving the problem. We are all in this together. It is time to do our part as individuals and as a society by working together, following the recommendations of those in charge. This is the only way we can expect to minimize the impact of this virus. Take this opportunity to spend time with your family, show your children how important family is, how working together as a family can overcome almost any obstacle. Love your children, and let's learn to love each other again. That's my words today. Send me an email or to alex@remodelrev.com or Facebook and let me know your thoughts. So today, this week, I thought, everybody's going back home and officing, not by choice often, but because they have to. And I thought, I need to call somebody, Closets by Design, my good friends, and talk to them about home offices and some of the things that people are doing and some of the options that are available and things like that. So who do I get but Gia Gambatese from Closets by Design? She is the Director of Operations, extremely talented lady with an extremely talented company. They do super high-end work. And welcome to the show, Gia.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's
and
so
I loved
good
your
to
introduction there. That was
very,
very, I didn't know you were going to say that, and I couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Good,
Thank
good.
you for asking.
Are you guys getting office calls?
A ton.
Yeah.
A ton. As a matter of fact, I just got a text the other day from a client that we've done, and he says, you've done some work for us. I'm going to be officing on a home. Can you give us a call so we could do some things? So it's very, very common now.
So there's a lot of, now I've done tons of home offices over the years for people. And because over the years, it seems like as technology has given us the opportunity to be more mobile, a lot more people can work from home and choose to work from home.
Absolutely.
I have a niece that has a new baby, and she offices probably 80% out of the home, and can be with the baby. And I think that's really, really huge. That's
It is huge. It is
Yeah.
huge. It gives them a lot of flex time too. It could be a flex schedule, half the time in the office, half the time at home. And we could create a space dedicated to that. So the dog's not barking in the background, kind of finding some really prime real estate within the home to create that home office for them that has some privacy and work with any space at all. It could be big or small.
But there are a few problems. A few challenges that people have to overcome.
Sure.
You have to not forget to put your pants on before you leave the house.
That's right.
Yeah,
It becomes
yeah.
a habit.
It becomes a habit working in your pajamas.
And when doing video conferences, do it from, here
That's
up.
right.
There you go.
And learning how to do that,
Sure.
actually.
Yeah.
We did an interview not long ago with a lady's chin. She had a nice chin.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
But learn how to work from the office. There are some nuances
Sure.
you're not used to.
didn't even think of those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you have it's like sharing the Wi-Fi and sharing the computer time maybe for
Sure.
some people.
Sure.
The dog's barking, the TV's too loud, the kids come running in when you're in the middle.
Right,
Your
right.
biggest conference call of the year, right? The kids come running in and crying. Let's talk about a few of the advantages and some of the challenges with doing a home office. One would be, the first one that comes to my mind is organization.
Right. And at this time too, I'm trying to take the good as well, and we're business as usual. But people are going to take the time to get organized. Maybe go through some things. And home offices is the one way to do that. And put their books away, maybe put their files away, maybe start digitally, uploading things, and really kind of get uber organized. Same thing with bookshelves themselves, or in the closet. So they're going to be at home a little bit more today.
And so when you are designing one of these home offices for someone, I'm sure you would go in and do some sort of an inventory, almost like
Absolutely.
you were doing a closet.
Absolutely. The same thing, asking what they do, what their needs are. Sometimes, again, some people file things, some people digitally upload them, how big their screens are, how they want to store things generally.
You're working in this big office, right? And you've got all the room you need, and you have maybe even an entire file room, right?
Right.
Or you walk into the next room to get your copies, because there's this giant copy machine that
Yep.
everybody uses. We don't have that now. You have a small corner of a room
That's right.
that you've converted to an office. And so it's imperative to organize. Now, I office at home. I run 2 companies out of my office at home, and it's awful.
It's hard. It's not so easy.
And it's not awful because of officing at home.
Sure.
I'm not organized enough.
We'll have to get you so.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Let's talk about where you have to kind of combine spaces sometimes. So you might take a part of a dining room, living room, something like that, and combine it with or put your office in it. What are some of the things that you would look for doing that and designing it?
Well, again, we look for the space and make sure that there's enough for them to sit and even have some storage on the side. And we look at, that's about it, really. And there's some nooks, like I said, that are in the home that really kind of lend themselves to a home office that you wouldn't even think about, just maybe where an entertainment center would have been or something. But most people have a room, or even in their bedroom. As a matter of fact, we've done closets so large that they put their office in there as well.
Well, I've done
I
that
guess.
before
Okay,
for
I
people.
see.
And it was usually the wife, honestly, that is maybe home during the day managing the house. And she wants her office in the closet because that's where she's spending her time.
Sure.
But she wants separation. And she may not have a good place anywhere else to put it. But another place that we put a lot of home offices are in kitchens, where we combine them in other cabinet arrangements when we're designing the kitchen. We might design an office area in there. It's usually just a place to put a
Yeah.
computer and a printer and that kind of thing. It's not really an office per se.
Right.
But the thing that strikes me with having an office in the formal living area of a house is going to be the design of the finishes. So do we have a lot of options with that?
Oh my gosh, we have a ton of options. We have over 27 colors, and we could really pretty much match anything, or at least make it complementary, to the space. Countertops as well, they could pick whatever kind of countertop they want as well. So there's a lot of options there. We can make it blend into their home, blend away from their home, make it a statement, a focal point of the home. It just depends on what they want to do.
Well, and you can also have an office that's kind of disappeared. And you can close the whole thing off.
Sure.
With either cabinet doors or a door.
Right.
One of the things that has made this a big change in our ability to do this is we have this wireless technology. So we don't have to pull cables in there.
Right.
In fact, actually, your entire all of your equipment can be wireless. I know I have a wireless keyboard, and I have a wireless mouse, and so you don't have to have all this stuff strung out
Right.
everywhere. Yeah. So you can also do glass options. What kind of glass options do you have on, like the glass doors?
Oh, basically anything they want. I mean, the reeded glass, the pitted glass, anything that they would really want.
So if they want to upgrade it, of course, you might not always want clear glass.
Sure.
If you're in the, say, living room office or
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
But you can also do an office in, I've done them where they had it maybe in the corner of a living or part of a room that had a fireplace where you can make it really comfortable. You make it a place you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we manufacture and design everything in Addison, and we have a factory and a showroom. So we could do anything that they want in regards to size, shape. We could put things behind doors and make it all disappear or lift up. And
So let's
make it
talk
definite.
about your process. When someone calls you and they get a salesperson and they say, I want to do a home office. Take us through those steps.
When they call us, a designer will come to their home. And during these times right now, we want to assure our clients, and we have assured our clients, that we're following the fives in regards to the social distancing and taking care. All of our installers also are being tested every day, temperatures and their breathing, et cetera, before they go out. So if anyone's sick, they're not going to go out to the houses. But anyway, with that being said,
that's super important.
right, we're going to the houses, we'll take a measurement of the space, take their inventory, like you said, and then design something, price it, and they could get an order that day.
So you would design something with the homeowner with you
Yes.
also, right? So obviously you want what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take an inventory with them. We'll consult with them. We'll talk with them. What do they want to store? What do they want to do? And that's what we'll do with them. And they'll get to choose all the colors. We'll lay them out for them. And yes, it's a very great close process. The people really love to choose what they get.
What
they make
sort
the
of
choice.
a timeline does it take from start to installation?
It depends. We could work with any schedule. Typically, we're running 4 to 6 weeks out before we can install. The installation itself, though, is usually a day. So we'll have everything ready, cut for them, what they wanted, what they chose, and then we could bring it in that day. And install it.
What sort of materials are we talking about with these cabinets? Or is it all laminated, or what?
We use
it natural wood?
Great question. We use a 3/4-inch thermofused melamine. And usually for the countertops, we'll use either HP, a high-pressure laminate, or whatever. Some people, if they wanted to use a solid surface, we could give them some sources, because we're involved in some organizations like, the remodelers industry. So we have a lot of industry partners.
A lot of sources for doing different type things.
Yep.
Natural wood seems to be coming in more in vogue this year for some reason. We kind of got away from it for a while, but I'm having more and more people want to do it. Is there any challenges there for you?
Not really, because what we use is very durable. It doesn't shrink, it doesn't grow. It doesn't fade. It's one of those things that are a lifetime. So, and the colors that they have now and what we have now, I'd give you a test to see. So, I don't know.
Well, no. Don't test me, please.
I won't know. I won't. I promise I won't.
I'm low-hanging fruit when it comes to a test.
Stop.
So the other things the soft closed doors, the soft closed drawers, all that kind of stuff. So you've got all that
Everything.
good stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're full
yeah,
functioning,
Yeah.
basically cabinet shop.
yeah.
So we have,
That is fantastic.
it
That's
is.
great.
It is.
Well, we have your contact information up here, and I really appreciate you coming in. And
Thank you for having me.
I love the in-home office thing. To me is important because it allows us to be a lot more flexible with our time, a lot more integrated with our families.
I love it.
And if you have a young family, it's the perfect solution.
It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And you guys are the perfect solution for that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to introduce you to Jeremy Blackwell. I've been trying to get him in here. We finally got his hair done and got him cleaned up, and here he is. We'll be right back. I keep seeing people on the internet asking about what podcast should I listen to? And I've got to tell you, I have the perfect podcast for you. It's called Remodel Revolution. You can go and find it on any major podcast site. We are on probably 15 or 20 different podcast sites. Apparently, a lot of people like it because a lot of people listen to it every day and download it. And I really enjoy seeing that. And so go and listen to us and subscribe to it, and let me know if you have anything else that you want me to talk about. I have a lot of guests coming in. I have about 4 or 5. I stay booked out 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 3 months. And I try to have interesting guests and interesting topics and kind of current event type things when I can. So listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. It's Remodel Revolution Radio or Remodel Revolution Show. Easy to find. It goes out off Spreaker. We're on, I tell you, we're on Pandora, iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, and a whole bunch more. I don't even know who they are anymore. There's so many of them. So give us a try. So I want to introduce a good friend of mine who does a lot of work with me. His name is Jeremy Blackwell, and Jeremy has been in the construction business a long time. He has started out as a pool builder, and then they now do outdoor living areas, and they do a lot of my other work as well. And we are going to start out today talking about outdoor living areas. And the reason I thought this was important is because staying in our theme of because if you're officing at home and you have family there and they've shut down all the schools now, then you've got to have somewhere to go. Everybody has to be able to get out of the house. And of course, it's also the season for it. So anyway, I want to introduce Jeremy Blackwell, Blackwells Bluewater and Construction now. It's Blackwells Bluewater Construction.
That's correct.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very good, my friend.
Good. I'm glad to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about outdoor living spaces and some of the changes that are happening in that whole genre of outdoor living, because they've become pretty complex. And the ones you do, you don't just go out there and stick a few 4x4s in the ground and put some slats on top. You do a really high-end finish and a really, really unique quality standard from what a lot of people are used to seeing.
Well, we really just like to exploit the title, outdoor living. You could live out there.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make it as homey, and we want to bring the inside outside, make it just as comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of awesome features you can add to your space to make it this way: heaters, fans, coolers, all kinds of things to just really help you be comfortable.
Well, and there's we just are doing one right now with you, and it was not a particularly big yard, but it's a big space. I mean, it's really interesting the way it was designed, where it basically the husband calls me up and he's like, "These are the things I want. I got to have my fire pit. I've got to have my smoker. I've got to have this and that. Plus, I need this basic dance hall."
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. It's
Yes.
big. And it takes up a lot of the yard. And part of the trick is to design and build something that takes up a lot of that yard, but you don't feel like you have a concrete yard. You feel like you're in a space you can live in.
Yes. Well, the way we were able to do that there, the architect was pretty brilliant in the design. He did a lot of free form with the concrete work, so he kind of gave it a flow back there where you see plenty of grass, see plenty of lawn, but you also have enough space to put out furniture and entertain several guests.
So when we're talking about free flow, what we're talking about is curbs, essentially. And so instead of just having this big square thing that filled up the yard, it's got a nice round area to it, sort of key shaped. And you're right, that really makes a big difference in it. And because of the complexity of these things, it's really important to have an architect involved.
Yeah, an architect, and you also need a general contractor, somebody like yourself who knows how to bring all the trades together and bring them in at the right time, so you don't end up stepping on someone else's work trying to complete your own. So it's a complex job. There's masonry, there's flat works, carpentry, finish works, electrical. We had gas we had to deal with, drainage. So it really takes a keen mind. Somebody's been doing it for a while to be able to get through this process without making the homeowner crazy.
Well, and really without having to look up at the end of it and going, oops,
Yeah.
or usually it's something else.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, outdoor living areas used to be wood deck, and that was it. I mean, I did them for years. You probably did too. You just go out, you just put a wood deck out there, and they throw some lawn chairs out, and they call it an outdoor. It really wasn't an outdoor living area. It was just a deck, And we did them out of redwood, and it was a whole different time. And then we started going to more stone and more natural stone finishes and more concrete finishes. And one thing led to another, and it became smaller yards with a more focused plan for that outdoor living area, because we're sort of substituting some of that space, and we're bringing the indoor or the outdoor in. Is what we were doing. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with Jeremy Blackwell with Blackwells Bluewater Construction. We're talking outdoor living today. We started building smaller homes on smaller lots, or actually, we started taking more of the lot up with the home probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I keep losing track. But as we did that, we had to create an outdoor area that people could live in. And it became more and more complex as time went on. So we were doing outdoor kitchens, we might throw a spa in there, and people were willing to spend more money and get a more complete outdoor living area, which goes now with outdoor TVs, with spas, with all kinds of features and accessories that we just didn't used to use. It used to be just like a deck and a barbecue grill, but that's not how it is anymore. One of the things that has occurred to me lately is that our materials that we use out there. Now, I just use mostly cedar because I think cedar looks right when you're doing it. You know, it's natural, looks good, finishes good, it holds up well, and it looks beautiful when it's stained. What other materials are you using for these things?
Cedar is a pretty common application. It's a natural insect repellent. Does very well here in the state of Texas. But something else that's really popular is composite lumbers. If you're going to do decking or a veneer finish, composite lumber was something that they guarantee for 100 years. It's not going to rot, not going to deteriorate. Trex puts out a pretty awesome product, has nice railing systems. Redwood. And then really what is very popular right now is Ipe. And that's a Brazilian mahogany. And it's a very hard lumber. It's called an ironwood. And it is very resilient. It's beautiful if you seal it, and it's beautiful if you don't.
Yeah, well, it'll also withstand a direct nuclear hit.
Yes, it sure will.
I mean, that stuff is so hard. It's hard to work with, and I pity the guy that actually has someone that's willing to pay to do a whole deck with it. That's brutal.
Well, we're doing a project right now at the new Verispace Center, and it's about 6,000 square foot of 2x6 Ipe. So we've got a lot of work cut out for us. Yes,
You've got a lot of drill bits to go through, my friend. So we have a lot more natural stone that we're using now on these things, not only on the floor, but actually the walls, just like you did for me. And one of the exceptional things about your company is the quality of work that they do. I mean, your stonemasons are amazing. And we're talking about this free flow design that we did. And unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of it, but you have other pictures of other ones you've done. And it's harder and harder to find masons that have that talent, that are just that good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the materials that you're using, it seems to me that we tried all these fake things forever. We tried pattern concrete. We tried all of these materials that sort of looked natural but weren't, and then people don't really like them. Are you using very much of that anymore?
Well, sometimes, but it's not very typical. Some of the fall stones we've been using typically are to look like wood plank. So it's not even to appear like stone anymore, because those materials, they're quite like tile. They produce it for a period of time, and then when it's done being produced, you can't find a replacement for repairs. But if you go with natural stone, typically you can find
these. As a homeowner, let's talk about some of the things that you need to expect to have to tackle. Like we said, you need an architect. You have to have an engineer now. And the reason is because now, what's different from the past is we now have the cities and the homeowner associations getting involved. It used to be that if the structure wasn't connected to the house, most cities just didn't bother with it. They didn't care. They didn't inspect it. It wasn't anything they were concerned with. Well, that's changed. And I think because of the complexity of them, because this is now a permanent structure that is used daily. And I don't know all the reasons why, but I know that now I'm having to permit these things where I didn't used to have to permit them.
Well, I've gone in and made some repairs to some kitchens that have been done throughout the years. And a lot of guys will go out there and they'll frame one up out of lumber.
Yeah.
Non-treated lumber.
Yeah.
And it'll do well for a little while, but eventually lumber rots. And the stone is heavy, and it begins to crush the cabinet. So they started making it more mandatory that you get these things inspected, because when you build a hardscape, it's very heavy, it's very dangerous, and you want it to withstand time or somebody could be hurt.
Well, let's talk about, for the next few minutes, let's talk about how some of the things that a homeowner should not do. So what are some of the things that you shouldn't do that maybe we did, like we used to build them out of wood because we just didn't know the difference. And we weren't using stone. We were using wood. That's what we used. What are some of the things people should be aware of when they're thinking about doing this?
My biggest worry for the industry right now is people placing grills underneath ceilings that are too low. And so, when you're thinking about your grilling space or your fire pit, you really want to think about the height of the structure that's above it, because it can be very dangerous. But also you want to, consider the contractor that you're hiring. It's always important to make sure they have insurance. And that says a whole lot. It says that they're willing to cover any accidents that they may have. But you really want to make sure that you're hiring someone who is, an industry professional.
Well, excuse me. One of the things that you have to do when you're doing a big foundation for one of these is you have to have it engineered, whether you want to or not. It's critical. And you may have a contractor or a person doing it for you that's, don't worry about it, it's just a patio. Well, if you're putting a bunch of stone walls on it and you're putting a big covered structure over it, it's more than just a patio. It's basically a room addition without walls. And it's critical that it be done correctly. We have had to go back and tear a bunch of them out because they just weren't done right. They crack, they're not designed to carry the weight of the stone, for instance, that you're talking about. I love the idea of what you brought up about the low ceiling and how the low ceiling could be a fire hazard. There's other things that can be a problem as well, and that's, fan placement and access and accessibility and getting on and off of it, making sure that the drainage from the yard is right. That's a biggie.
Yes, sir.
You don't want the yard draining off onto your new patio every time it rains. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with Jeremy Blackwell with Blackwell Bluewater Construction. We're talking outdoor living. We'll be right back. The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a train, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today. Here with my good friend Jeremy Blackwell, who is the owner of Blackwells Bluewater Construction, and he does a lot of outdoor living areas. He does lots of pools, and we're discussing some of the things involved if you're going to do an outdoor living area. And this became important to me this week because with this virus issue and people are having an office at home, you need more of an area to live in. You need an outdoor area for the kids to go play, or heck, you could even do your work out there if you had a really nice one. And of course, it's that time of year that people are calling us wanting to do outdoor living areas and pools. One of the things that I wanted to discuss with Jeremy was what the HOAs, the homeowner associations in these developments, what are they asking or demanding of you when you're designing these things?
You know, when dealing with the HOA, it's always a tender subject. Every community is different in what they're after. But in general, they typically, if you're going to do an attached structure or a freestanding shade structure, they want to make sure the pitches of the roof are the same because they want to keep with the original architecture of the community of the home. The goal is to make sure that additions don't look like additions. They actually look like a part of the original intent. They want hard surfaces, stones. They want them to match the house. Brick, they want it to match the house. They really don't want what you're doing to stand out in a negative way that's going to make your neighbors
Aesthetically.
upset. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. But the other thing is that when you're dealing with a lot of HOAs, you're not dealing with professionals.
No.
And so part of the challenge is, we had one recently where they literally did not know how to scale the drawing. And so they rejected our design. They said the roof was too high. Well, the roof wasn't too high. It was actually 15 feet lower than the other roof. It was a 2-story house. We're doing a 1-story structure. We just had to go back and say, well, you're just not reading it right. And so you have to be patient with them.
Absolutely.
The other thing about HOAs is they don't meet every day. They meet usually once a month. And sometimes they're not real reliable. When you get these back, you have to sort of stay on them in a nice way, be nice. And they are your neighbors, and they're doing this voluntarily. So be nice with them. And then usually what I like to do is get it past the HOA and then take it to the city.
Absolutely. That is correct.
That should be the sequence of events.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so a couple of other things to look for when you're going to do one of these areas. You have a sprinkler system in your yard, and you're going to come and cover the yard up with concrete. What's your advice there?
Typically, I strongly recommend that you bring in an irrigation company and do a complete reroute. Some people don't have that in their budget, so what is common is to just pull the heads that are in the area and cap them. And the way you find those heads, they may be covered with grass. You just turn on that zone and then you flag them. You just buy some flags at Home Depot and you flag them. We can cap them. But I don't recommend ever leaving live water underneath a hard surface. So I always try to tell my clients, just be prepared to have a few extra dollars to reroute your irrigation around the patio area.
Which doesn't happen all the time. In fact, most of the time it doesn't. And we'll end up capping them. One of the other things that is super important designing these is the drainage.
Absolutely.
Because you're taking this big hard surface and you're covering up your yard, which soaks in water, but now you're putting a surface out there that doesn't soak in water. So what's your advice with that?
So my advice there is, depending on how big the addition is, you can hire a civil engineer that will develop a drainage plan. But somebody who's done this for a long time, like you, Alex, you can kind of tell which way the water's going.
The water goes downhill.
It goes downhill every time.
Regardless of what you want it to do, it's going to go downhill.
That's right. And whenever you put a patio in, you're also creating more shed water to one location. So instead of it falling over a total of 1,000 square feet, now you're collecting 1,000 square foot of water and you're shedding it into about 100 square foot area. So it's best to consider those kind of things. Have a professional develop your drainage plan. And you want to get that water out of your backyard as fast as possible, and definitely not into your neighbor's yard.
Yeah, and of course we're all living closer together, right? So we get to live with each other's runoff.
Yes.
So everybody has to sort of work together on that deal, and it happens. And a lot of houses now, I've noticed in these developments, have a low spot in between the houses specifically to let water run off. Because I know in the past when the neighbors would complain and they'd go down to the city and the city would say, not our problem. That's not our problem. That's y'all's problem. Y'all can sue each other over that. Let's talk pools. It is pool time.
I love it.
You got to be getting ready. Now, you love pools.
I love swimming pools. You know, I was baptized in a swimming pool by my pastor, so I can literally tell people I was baptized in this industry. So,
well, you've been basically doing it all your life.
My entire life.
Yeah. So your pools are super high end. And one of the things that has really impressed me the last few years is the high tech and how we've integrated a lot of new technology into these pool systems where you can control, you can control from your phone the heater coming on or the water circulating or what are some of the features you put around them now? You put a lot of fire features around them.
Yeah. So the big thing now is automation. It's all on your phone. What is a great sell point for me and my company and for my wife as well is, you're out, you're having a few drinks and the wife says, hey, let's get in the hot tub when we get there. Well, then you got to walk out there, you got to flip the switch and you got to wait an hour and a half.
They always wait till it's dark to do that.
Yeah. And by then the wife's asleep and then no fun for
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah.
But,
it's just like, and then you've got to figure out how to work it on the phone because she's the
And
only
it's
one.
dark.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
but now it's on your phone, so you just hit a button while you're sitting there having a drink, and by the
by
time you
yourself,
get home,
by yourself.
yeah, and you just flip it on your way home, and you have hot water when you get there. And the mood is not lost. It's
That's
a sale. It sells real fast.
Yeah.
To every husband out there on date nights. But
One of the things, and Jason has up on the screen right now, these fire features are incredible.
yeah, sky's the limit.
Yeah, and so I've noticed that as we've talked to, we can make you guys can have flames coming through water, flames coming through glass, all kinds of stuff that you do. Tell me about some of the fun things you've done with the water features.
So we do have the fire features. Fire and water's been hot for a couple of years now. It's very exotic. I've got a multi-view fireplace right on the edge of my pool, so you can sit dry and have heat from the fireplace, or you can sit in the pool and have fire. But we also have some Jandy bowls that are on the edge of our pool. And Jandy is a product, and they're called Jandy bowls. And what it is it creates a light that looks like fire, and they spill water. So the water inside the bowl's kind of transparent and has an amber light in it, and it looks like fire, and it spills water at the same time.
Oh, how cool.
That's a very affordable way of bringing that warmth to your backyard. It really looks warm.
Well,
and,
plus it's LED, I assume,
yes,
so you
sir.
can probably change colors with
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
You can put it on color change. You can freeze the color. Pentair also puts out an awesome product where all your Malibu lights are color changing, and they'll sync with the pool, they'll sync with your spa, they'll sync with your bowls.
How cool is
And
that?
the whole lawn will bleed colors from one end to the other. It's very majestic.
It sounds like the 70s all over again. Let's talk a little bit about the maintenance and all this automatic programming with maintenance of your pool, like over the winter when you're not using it, and you can set up a circulation system and things like filtration and things like that. How's all that working these days?
It works very good. Just like a Roomba, I'm sure you've heard of these automatic vacuum cleaners. Every now and then they've got to be emptied
Yeah, so
when they're full. So
my
your
wife's
swimming
been
pool-
wanting one for a while, and I keep telling her, no, I'll keep vacuuming.
You got to empty the bag on the Roomba. You're going to have to empty the bag on the pool cleaner. So there is some hands-on involved. But for the most part, you have automatic chlorination systems. They have a product out from Nor Systems that is a remote handled chemical control system that your pool company can maintain your water chemistry without ever coming to your house.
Wow.
And then also with the automation, if you've had too many glasses of red wine, you can't get the heater on, you can call your pool guy and he can turn it on from his phone or his computer.
Assuming he hadn't had too many glasses of red
Assuming
wine.
he hasn't.
We know how that is.
But the way the automation goes is if you have the right pool cleaner, the right pool maintenance company, they can bail you out of trouble without even coming to your
remote
home.
control.
Everything.
That is totally amazing.
Everything.
And I really appreciate you coming in and spending time with me today. It's always fun.
Yeah.
You really know your stuff.
Well, I studied before I came.
Well, yeah. Well, I've known Jeremy a long time. We've worked together for many years, and I highly recommend them. They're amazing, skilled tradesmen at what they do. And quite honestly, as time goes on in this industry, it's harder and harder to find skilled tradesmen that can get the quality that you want. And that will also, one of the things about these guys, they absolutely stand behind everything they do. They never have a complaint about that. So give them a call, Blackwells Bluewater Construction, if you're thinking about doing a pool or an outdoor living area, or if you really need a really good, handsome, bald contractor, give me a call. Check out Alex Guthrie Construction, Alex Guthrie Construction, or alexguthrie.net. And give us a call if you're thinking about doing a remodel, building a house, building an addition. Maybe you want to update that kitchen, update that bathroom, whatever it is, give us a call, and we'll be happy to come over, and we can take it all the way from design, from your ideas through the design, all the way, of course, and finish it. And give us a call at 469-446-8508. Contact me, Alex at alexguthrie.net. Or you can contact me, of course, through the show, Alex at remodelrev.com or Alex at remodelrevolutionradio.com. So next week, we have a really interesting show. We're going to talk solar next week. We're going to talk about solar storage. I got real interested in this because of actually the tornado we had recently. I realized, as I have for years, that how important it is that when all the electricity's down, there's sometimes you need to keep something going, like the refrigerator, whatever it is. One of the things that has really interested me the last few years is the advancement of solar technology. And the thing that makes solar technology work is the storage systems. So I have Charles Crumpley coming on next week, and we're going to talk about that. You'll love this guy. He's a lot of fun. We've had him on before. And you need to check out our website at remodelrevolution.com. Check out our YouTube and subscribe. It's Remodel Revolution Radio on YouTube. Please subscribe and watch some of these videos. Also, our podcast is Remodel Revolution Radio, and you can go to virtually any podcast platform and find us. We're there. Like I was saying earlier, we get a lot of, I'm getting a whole lot of podcast traffic. People really enjoy listening to the show, and I really, really, really do appreciate it. Contact me on Facebook, like us and follow us on Facebook. And also I have a Twitter account. I don't use it a whole lot, but I've got it. And a lot of this goes through Twitter and, of course, Instagram. It's all at Remodel Revolution. Check us out there. And thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jeremy Blackwell. Thank you, Gia Gambatese, for spending time with us today. And thank you to On Air Media, who has been so good during this time of crisis. They're keeping the studios open, keeping everything clean, allowing us to work. We really do appreciate it because we think it's so necessary that you hear from us. Also, thank you to our audience. I really appreciate you listening, and I appreciate the emails I get from you, the messages and the encouragement. And we're planning on being here for a long time, so stay with us. And also, at the end of the show, coming up next is Ron Taylor. He's going to tell you how to find us everywhere all over again. And until next week, this is Alex Guthrie signing off. I hope you have a great week.
The views and opinions of this program are for educational and entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace the recommendations of a hired professional.
You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle at Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn, and watch the show anytime on YouTube.